This is the African Renaissance program. It's a weekly television program broadcast with Ethiopian Broadcast Television Service. The African Renaissance is the new voice for green African solutions. I'm your host, Dr. Belai Habte-Jesus, the executive producer of African Renaissance. Today we have a special distinguished guest, Sehin Belew. I call her Fabulous Sehin. Sehin talks about lots of interesting things that we here at African Renaissance are concerned about. She talks about image, she talks about value, lifestyle, beauty, health. I met Sehin yesterday evening at a very special gala called the Gemini Health Group, who are trying to raise money for a hospital in Ethiopia for young children. Dr. Eba, my old friend from Atlanta, was hosting this. And there are lots of Ethiopians from all over the United States, especially New York, here in the Metro Washington, D.C., California. And I saw Sehin walking down the aisle, really more or less catwalking on your modeling show place. And yet, you're also the inspiring guest speaker. I liked what you say, and really the first thing I thought was we should have you at the African Renaissance. Welcome, Sehin.
Thank you so much, Dr. Belai. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, Sehin, we've talked a little bit about what we do and what you are doing. I see some synergy, and it is very important that we understand ourselves, our image, our values, the way we promote ourselves. And you have this interesting book called Fabulous for Less.
Yes.
I think it's a very excellent book. It's a very good book. And you have a book signing tomorrow, is that right?
I do. I will be at Borders in White Flint in Silver Springs.
Okay,
yes.
That's wonderful. I tried to attend this show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Sehin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you've been, and how you got involved in this image construct of yours.
Okay. As you know, I grew up in Ethiopia, and my parents had 6 children, but my father died when I was 14. So we had a very humble home, so to speak. And I remember growing up, I had what you would consider buck teeth. My 2 teeth were literally sticking out. And the kids were saying, you know, buck teeth. And I was very insecure about my image. And then because I was insecure, then I started developing a hunchback. You know, so then I got a second nickname, Hunchback. So you're a teenager, and as if that's not enough, you got 2 nicknames. So talk about having self-image, there was none. So, but I was a very good student because that was the only thing I got solace and recognition. So I was a good student, I got scholarship, came to the US, graduated with honors. Now slowly I'm getting some recognition, but the self-image in terms of my physical appearance wasn't there. So after after college graduation, I was employed, and at my first job, somebody approached me and say, "Have you considered braces?" And I said, "I'm like 20 something, you know, isn't that too old?" I thought that's something you do when you're a young, you know, girl. And she said, "No, you know, that's okay." And I got braces. Within 3 months, I had a modeling opportunity to model, and my reaction to the person was, "I have braces," and they said, "You know, that doesn't even matter." So all of a sudden, my teeth are straight. I'm walking straight with confidence. All it took was one part of my body that made me insecure. I did something to it. That led into a 10-year modeling career. As you know, I was Crown Miss Ethiopia, and I wrote a book on beauty, and I do now in style, you know, consulting. All that because of getting braces. So what I tell people is, you don't have to be groomed to be a beauty queen, or you don't have to come from a wealthy family. All you need to do is look yourself in the mirror and say, "Do I feel good?" You know, you don't even have really to do anything if you're happy with yourself. But check yourself in the mirror and say, "Do I look good? Am I 100% at the top of my game? You know, am I at my best in terms of my professional career is concerned, or am I at my best in my relational aspect of my life?" So wherever you're not happy, be honest to yourself and address it. Have I not admitted to myself that I don't like the way my teeth looked, I wouldn't have done something about it, you know. I mean, every time they tell jokes, I was so conscious my mouth's automatic, you know, my hand automatically goes to my mouth, because I wouldn't even laugh openly, and laughing is something you should do and be entitled to as a human being, you know. So since then, I can't even stop laughing, because I feel like, wow, it's liberating. So I use that example to tell people a little change in your life. It could be diet for someone, you know, it could be a small thing. You never know where that gets you. You know, I just named you. It was my career was affected, and everything I've done just because of one move in my life. So that's why I said, you know, I want to spend the rest of my life doing image and style consulting, because image is what gets you from where you are to where you should be. And we shouldn't let that little thing be the hindrance. You deserve the very best, because that's what God wants for you.
This is interesting. You converted what appeared to be your disabilities or your handicaps into your great potential.
Absolutely.
This is very interesting. We talk a lot about our passion here, and our passion is, we say, to reach your individual and collective potential. By potential, you know what it means.
Yes.
Every one of us have a destiny,
Absolutely.
have capacities, and what have you.
Absolutely.
And yet, some of us die out without knowing what our potential was.
Absolutely.
Some of us discover it very late in life. Others know it very young, and they build on it, and they reach their own personal potential. So within this bigger picture, there's something we call converting your challenges into your opportunities.
Absolutely.
You are a young woman, you came here to the United States in a new setting, and yet you succeeded in the environment you're in. However, you've had some challenges.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there will be lots of young people who would be reflecting on your personal experiences. Tell me a little bit about your time in Ethiopia. I understand you were at the time a very young girl when the Ethiopian famine broke, and the whole image of Ethiopia that has lasted for some 8,000 years was shattered, and today the image of Ethiopia is seen side by side with that experience in Weldo Tigray. You were a young person. Can you share with us that experience?
Absolutely. Dr. Belai, that was over 3 decades ago. I share this example how I get Facebook requests, you know, friends requests, and they say, you know, we worked just a few years ago with you, or we went to college with you, and they send me their picture. I look at their picture, and I cannot remember these people at all. But if, you know, you're asking me now about something that happened 3 decades ago, and I see it vividly as if it happened yesterday, because it was a defining moment in my life. It's literally changed who Sehin is to be the rest of her life.
That's interesting.
It was a defining moment for me. It gave me the reason for being. Everything I did since then, I had that. You know, I was Crown Miss Ethiopia, for instance. I utilized every media exposure to talk about the children, because the way I looked at it is God gave me this platform to represent the children, because I had made a vow for them that for as long as I live, I will not stop talking on their behalf until every one of those children has had the contentment of a full stomach and has access to medical care, and that vow would stay true. And I know you got my book and probably read the dedication page. I dedicated the book to them.
That's part of the reason why I ask you this. And you remember around that time, there was this European music professionals, Bob Geldof and his group, and even Michael Jackson did one here. There was a big cry out by what happened at that time.
Absolutely.
Surprisingly, that image is what is projected even now. Tell me how a country like Ethiopia can convert its challenges as a potential or as a solution, looking at from your own experience, where you said you changed few things in your sort of dental mark, and then you change your future.
Exactly.